I'm not someone that could be in a 9 to 5 for long, that I needed to venture out and start building something else outside of that 9 to 5. An excuse, but it should be your reason why you should do more. It should be your reason why you should actually try and look into property to make more money. So I would tell them that, look, I understand it's not easy, but I think you have to choose your heart.
Hello and welcome to Property Investment Blueprint Podcast. In today's podcast, I'm with Gracey Ola, the founder of Geeseland Homes and an award-winning property investment coach. She owns and controls over £2 million worth of property investment portfolio. With years of experience in the property industry, Grace has a passion to help other people to start and scale their property investment journey and use a property as a vehicle to gain financial freedom. I love your tenacity, energy, and mission you've embarked on, Grace. I'm honored to have you on the Property Investment Blueprint podcast. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Rahim. Thank you.
Good. Really, really nice to have you. I was chuffed to see your profile and what you've been doing and all that stuff. I'm really, really amazed. But before we get to that bit, the story isn't as good as it is unless people know who you are, where you came from, and how you started your property investment journey.
Awesome. So thank you once again for this opportunity. I really do appreciate it. So as you said, my name is Gracey Ola, and my journey really started from being a social worker. Well, maybe I'll go back a bit. So I'm a mum. I've got 2 children. I've got a 4-year-old and I've got a 6-year-old.
Wow.
I'm also a wife as well. Been married to my husband going on to 12 years now. So my foundation of my story is that I've never really been an entrepreneur. I've never been one to say that in the next X amount of years, I want to reach this goal, I want to reach that goal. But after I had my 2 children, something in me woke up. So one of my first proper jobs, and I say proper job, but my career path was a social worker. So I was a social worker for about 10 years, working in the child protection field. And when I had my second child, already I started to get fed up with the job. I was a bit stressed out, overworked. So when I had my second child, I realized that I needed a change. So at the time, my husband and I, we were just average. We were just getting by, normal 9 to 5. Our salary probably between us was maybe about 3K or something like that, along that mark. But we've always been interested in property, but it just always seemed something, too far to reach. So basically one day let me not tell a lie. It was someone that introduced us into property, and they said they had about 10 properties. We're like, how can someone have 10 properties? How is that possible? So that basically ignited a fire in us. So we had the desire from then on. And with social work, I just decided to quit it because I just realized that it wasn't paying the bills. It wasn't doing much. And then we just ventured into property. So our first property, we bought it as a residential, but we converted it into a buy-to-let. And we moved on to another residential. So It was then on, we just started building our property portfolio. And by the time you knew it, it was about over 2.5 million.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well done. I don't want to cut you off.
Please do.
I always wanted to know what is the emotional? I know you've got your trigger, which was you realized the social work was only paying you the bills, it's just to get you over broke, basically.
Yeah.
But what was that epiphany moment for you? Because everybody has that. It's not just for financial freedom, but there's a reason why you decided, you know what? I'm going to take my financial situation into my own hands and make this thing work for me. So what was that epiphany moment for you?
I think it's when I realized that my ability, what I wanted for my children was I needed more finances. So I've always wanted my 2 children to go to private school. But when I looked at my situation at the time, I realized that if I am going to put them into private school, I need more.
Yeah.
I realized also that I didn't want to work 9 to 5. So that was also something where I realized that, okay, you know what, I've got to make a decision now, because if not, I'll continue to be in a rat race.
Yeah.
So those were the two things for me. So really it was like my children and me wanting more for them, as well as me knowing that I'm not someone that could be in a 9 to 5 for long, that I needed to venture out and start building something else outside of that 9 to 5.
Wow, brilliant. So it's all about family then, because family is what brings the emotions in, and obviously that what makes you wake up every morning saying,
Absolutely.
I want to get this
Kids.
done. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so yeah, thanks for sharing that with us. So you are doing absolutely amazing. You're making multiple sources of income through properties, and you've got your investment really, really diversified as well. What would you say to someone who's saying, "Oh, I'm a mother. I don't really have the time to actually do properties, and maybe property is not for me as well." So, what sort of advice would you have people like that?
Yeah, okay. So I would firstly say, what is your why? And I think actually being a mum should not be an excuse, but it should be your reason why you should do more. It should be your reason why you should actually try and look into property to make more money. Because what with property, it actually gives you more freedom. So I would tell them that, look, I understand it's not easy, but I think you have to choose your hard, right? It's either you stay in that situation, look after your kids, earn the minimum salary, not have time for them, or you choose the hard of saying, you know what, I'm going to be uncomfortable for a bit, but I'm going to venture out and I'm going to take down this property route. And there's so much education out there for people to reach. People are doing all sorts of stuff. There's, resources like yourself that people can tune into to kind of, brush up their skills and knowledge in property. So actually, I don't think there is an excuse for a mum to say that you don't want to, unless your why is not strong enough. If your why is strong, then you have every reason to go out and to do this.
Fantastic. You're absolutely right in that one. To be honest with you, with my program, the ladies or the mothers are doing better than the husbands, to be honest. But yeah, it's good. It's coming from yourself, who's
Yeah.
actually practicing what you preach as well, which is really, really good. I'm just gonna ask you something very similar to that question as well, because I've been approached by so many ladies thinking property business is not for ladies. They're thinking it's so manly and you have to be dominant, you have to be kind of like that. So what would you say to people like that? Because I'm pretty sure you've not been able to build a multi-million pound property investment portfolio by being the nicest person out there. So for someone who's thinking, I'm a female, I may not be able to do this, what core competence or skills, or what do you reckon? What would be your advice in people that are facing that sort of situation?
Yeah. Okay. I suppose what most people will be expecting me to say is, okay, you've got to be tough, you've got to be hard, but actually being yourself is good enough. And with
Okay.
just a little fine tuning. And I think sometimes just being approachable. I think what a key thing is social skills. And that's something as women is we tend to have naturally, we're naturally known to, be nurturing and all of this stuff. And I believe that me just being sociable, me being relatable, me just being able to talk to people easily actually helps me in the property field. So I think we should use the skills that we have naturally to our advantage. And I think it's actually in our favor. Because we don't need to put on the hat of, I'm hard, I'm tough. Yes, there are going to be times you need to be assertive, especially when working with builders and the like, because actually my experience has shown me that, yes, being a woman in property, some people, let me say, well, some men can sort of feel like you don't know what you're talking about, and etc. etc. But actually just showing naturally your knowledge and skills and being yourself, you'll find that you will be very respected and welcomed in the property field as a female. So you don't need to, like I said, put on the hard hat or anything. Just being you is good enough.
Fantastic. I like that. Thank you so much for that. As an entrepreneur, then, as a successful entrepreneur, what motivates you? What keeps you going? Knowing that very hard to manage builders, and very hard because let's be honest, most of the people that you would work with in the property investment world, especially builders, they're mainly males. So how have you how have you been able to kind of get you motivated going without being deflated?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because I was asking myself that the other day. What keeps me going? What is pushing me to keep waking up and keep trying and keep trying? And I think it's me wanting a better life for
Mm-hmm.
my family and my children, firstly. And I think it's also because I understand and I appreciate that there are women in property. So I'm actually doing this for them as well. I'm doing this for within my Black community. I'm doing it for other women. I'm doing it for young women, older women. I'm doing this for mums. I'm doing this for married women, single women. And I just want them to know that it's possible. I'm not saying that I'm there yet or not at all, but I want people to know that, look, if I can do this from my background, you can do it also. Because I am passionate about seeing mums in particular and women build generational wealth for
Mm-hmm.
their children
Mm-hmm.
and within my community. Because I cannot stand people saying they want something, but they cannot buy it because they cannot afford it. Why can you not afford it? It
Mm-hmm.
frustrates me. It really frustrates me. It frustrates me.
Yeah.
So for me, what keeps me going is knowing that there are people to inspire. There are people that, could do with a word of encouragement. There are people that are perhaps watching my moves and, like I said, could perhaps maybe think to themselves that, okay, if Grace is doing it, then, maybe I can do something similar also.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for sharing that with us. So as an entrepreneur, then, what are the most important habits you think a successful entrepreneur would need to adapt in order to
Mm.
be really, really good in what they're doing?
Yeah, I think the key thing is, and most entrepreneurs will say that, is mindset. If your
Mm-hmm.
mindset is all over the place, you're going to make it very difficult for yourself to be successful. So, mindset, also affirming yourself. So, that could come under the umbrella of mindset, but telling yourself you are great. I mean, sometimes it sounds arrogant, but telling yourself, I am successful, I am wealthy, I am great, I am good at this, I am good at that. Because what you're trying to do is trick your body, trick your mind into
Yeah.
believing these things are actually possible.
Yeah.
And once you build on that, then I believe that's one of the greatest assets to being successful, especially within property. Another thing is consistency. You got to show
Yeah.
up. For me, I've learned that my feelings lie to me. So sometimes I'll be like, oh, I can't be bothered to do this. I don't want to post this. I don't want to speak to a client today. I don't want to. But actually, it's all deception. Why don't you want to do this? Why? So I've learned to lock off my feelings, especially when it comes to feelings, and just act. So I
Mm-hmm.
then become quite robotic because I've trained myself so much to
Mm-hmm.
just be consistent and to do what I need to do. So yeah, mindset, consistency, and being around the right people. I think
Yeah.
as well, you need to be around like-minded people, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
people within the property, people that also believe that they can be successful also. One bad apple could just spoil the whole thing. So you have to
Yeah.
be very in tune with who you allow around you. I say that sometimes I'm allergic to some people, not in a bad way, but the way they talk. I'm like, I cannot spend too much time with you because what you say can be contagious. So if I'm going to be contagious, I would rather be contagious with people that are successful
Yeah.
rather than the opposite.
Absolutely. I like that. I like that. That makes a perfect sense because it's all about perseverance, consistency, commitment, and surrounding
Yeah,
yourself with people that are doing better than you, to be honest, so that then you
that's
can
it.
learn from it and then you can obviously rub shoulders with those people. It would only make you grow. As an
Absolutely.
entrepreneur, then, what is your favorite aspect of being a property investor?
Um, there's quite a few. It's so funny because all these questions you're asking me, it's like I've asked myself. I think the favorite part is have knowing that an asset belongs to me. Some people can argue, well, if you get a mortgage, is it really yours? Blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, it's ours, right? So
Yeah.
I think for me, it's knowing that I own this property. It's knowing that if it's a buy to let, I am giving a family a home to live in. That's very satisfying to me, especially if they've got children and they're going to make memories in that home that I provided to them. Um, Also, it's working with different people, different tradespeople, different investors, the bank, the brokers. I just love the buzz about property, everyone that's in it. The refurbishment side of things, I love.
Mhm.
There's nothing I don't like about it. Actually, the paperwork I don't really like, but
You'll
but
get
everything
someone to do
else,
it.
yeah, exactly. Delegate it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but everything else, I love it. So
Okay. As a property investor, I know people may be thinking everything is amazing. So what are the challenges do you usually face? And how were you able to overcome these challenges?
Yeah. Okay. So some of the challenges that I would face would be, okay, maybe a property deal not going through. Obviously you put your hopes in it, you've put in an offer, and then for one reason or the other, it falls through. So for me, I always believe everything happens for a reason. So I think I built myself. I'm quite resilient. So I think I built myself to the extent that, okay, if it didn't go through, that means something else better is going to come my way. And I think that's where mindset comes in. So when you build your mindset, automatically you're building you're building that side, that resilient side of you also. Um, yeah. So another challenge I would say is the finances. That's a big thing. I think most people think property investors are sitting down with a whole lot of cash sitting in their account. But most property investors will tell you that actually we're always looking for money rather than, having money at our, disposal. So I would say that can be a challenge at times in terms of, okay, we've got this deal, how are we going to fund the next stage, maybe the refurbishment, or actually we're seeing a great property, where we're going to get the deposit from. But 99% of the time, because I have such a strong belief, that money always comes. I don't know how, but by the time I'm ready to execute, by the time they need the money's there waiting for them. That's the bank or whoever needs to take it. So yeah.
It's law of attraction, isn't it? That's what it is.
That's it.
So
That's
you
it.
set
And actually,
yourself
I
a
actually
goal, you
believe
achieve
in
it.
faith as well. That's the truth. That's the honest truth. I am a believer. So I believe that, God is on my side and he's the one that's actually orchestrating all these things for me, because I do exercise faith on a regular basis. And
Brilliant.
that is how I live, really.
That's good. That's good. Thanks for sharing that with me. Really, really appreciate that. A mother of two, how were you able to scale your business into that level for it to be a multi-million-pound property investment portfolio?
Okay, awesome. So I can't take credit for myself. Obviously, I've got a husband, and married people know that when you're married, you tend to do things together. So I have to give credit to my husband before he says, "You didn't even shout me out." I've got to give credit to him. So obviously, he's there, we're there doing this together. But also as well, I dedicate time. So if my children are asleep, or when they are asleep, then I put in the hours as well. I wake up a bit earlier as well, or I try to wake up early when I need to make sure that I get what I need to get done. And also I believe that me doing things like going to the gym helps me to be more productive and be more alert. So I get more done if I dedicate some time just doing a little workout in the morning or maybe in the evening. Then I find that I can be more productive in my business to help scale it up. So in a nutshell, I try to do something every day to push this forward.
Wow. Wow. Brilliant. Thank you for that. Thank you. Really, really appreciate that answer. It's really insightful. So looking back then, again, I'm going to go back to properties because that's what we're talking about here. For someone who's about to start their property investment journey, what skills do they need to kind of acquire to kind of even start to think about investing in property? Or what do they need to do to actually allow them to kind of start their property investment journey?
Yeah, okay. Well, I think this is going to sound cliche, and some may agree or not, but I definitely think it's your mindset first, because if you do not have the right mindset, if you don't believe that this is possible, then forget it. You're wasting your time, and you're going to waste everybody else's time, even the people that are teaching you, because there's always going to be that blocker in your mind. So you will not even receive the information that you're given. But if you believe that it's possible to be a property investor or to do whatever you choose to do within that field, then you will attain and acquire whatever it is that you so desire. So I think firstly, have the right mindset. Secondly, understand, well, let me not say that, I'll say secondly, start to associate yourself with people that own property, because that way you understand what it is you want to do. So there's like, you've got your buy to let gurus, you've got your HMOs, you've got your deal source. It's so much that people can get confused. But if you just surround yourself with people that are doing all sorts in property, that way you start to realize, okay, actually I'm more interested in rent to rent, or I'm more interested into this. So I think those two firstly are the best thing. And then from then, once you narrow what you want to do, then you can then find the right person. So, okay, you know what? I see that you're very good at rent to rent, or you're an expert in this area. Can
Mm-hmm.
you coach me? Can you train me? Etc. Etc. So I would say, firstly, like I said, the mindset. Secondly, surround yourself with other property. I won't say just investors, but people within the property field, so that you can have an understanding of what's happening, what's going on, and then you can narrow down what it is that you want to do, and then, you know, channel that and get the right education or training.
Fantastic. Thank you. Your answers are so amazing, detailed as well. I love it. Absolutely amazing. So, as a property investor, what is your typical day like?
Wow. Okay. So if I'm doing a property, like a property day, because actually, believe it or not, I don't do it full time yet. I still do something else part time. But so on a day to day, do you know, it's not really as, let me not even hype or pretend. It's not as exciting as we make out to be, because it goes through seasons, doesn't it? So if we're viewing a property, then we'll go out, we'll view it, we'll make the offers. There'll be a lot of back and forths, probably within a week, more or less a day. Maybe if we've got a refurbishment going on in another property, if we're there doing it live, sometimes we actually manage it online, or just, you know, by Zoom. So we'll speak to the builders. How's it going? We'll make sure that anyone that's due payment, especially if they're working for us, are being paid. We're looking at more properties online, Rightmove. Okay, have you seen these blocks of flats? Have you seen this? Let's maybe arrange a viewing with this. So we're calling estate agents. So it's not one day is the same. It could be we're signing solicitors' documentation during that day, or another day as well. It really is just like juggling it all, making sure that we're managing the ones that we've got, making sure that we're also overseeing the ones that we're trying to push through the line, and making sure that we're viewing new ones that we want to add to our portfolio. So it's just, yeah, juggling.
I know. No 2 days will be the same. There's a reason why I'm asking this question, because people are thinking, if you're doing properties, one, you have to be very, very rich. And secondly, it's like a full-time job. You'd have to be on it every single day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's good. It's coming from another perspective as well, which is really, really good. Well, it's an investment. The word itself tells you it's a property investment. So it's about not actively working to make that money. It's kind of the reverse to a job. You do the work once, and then you get the reward until you die, basically. That's how I normally say it. Or maybe you can leave it for your great grandchildren. So
exactly.
So it is what it is. So you work hard
Exactly
once, and then that'll be. And for me, property investment is all about making your money work for you instead of you working for the money. I tell my investors that if you're not making money while you sleep, you would work until you die. This is the sort of thing that property will do to you, where it would allow you to actually make money works for you. Now, the properties you have now, you don't have to actively involve. You've got a state agency managing it. End of the month, you just look at your account, check if it's been paid. If it hasn't not been paid, ask the agent why. In most cases, 99% of the time, you get paid anyways. You may have tiny repair maintenance to be done, but again, if you want the agent to kind of deal with that for you, they will deal with that for you. Or if you've got your own team, they can just go and sort the problem out for you. So I really like that perspective that you actually bring that in there. So property investment is an investment. End of the day, you're an investor, not an estate agent. So it's not a full-time job. If anybody wants to start it, they just need to think about the way you've just said it there.
Yeah,
so you talk a little bit about hard times. So I definitely inspired by someone who overcome hard time. Do you mind sharing a time where you had really hard time and how you've been able to overcome it?
Okay, and in property or generally?
It could be anything.
Okay, all right. Okay, so I make reference to when my husband and I we used to live on top of a funeral shop, and it sounds crazy, right? But then we didn't really have much money. We were newlyweds, just married, and it was actually one of the most difficult times in our marriage. So it was a one bed sort of studio flat kind of thing, you know, not really a proper flat, so half a flat if you like. And they said that the property would come furnished, but actually that furniture that we had was just really bad. I mean, you'd sit on the sofa and the springs will be poking our bottoms. Like you would be like, oh God, it's uncomfortable. The beds as well, you'd feel like the springs poking your back. And I mean, it was so embarrassing. It was I don't even know if I can use the word awful flat, but it was really awful that we just agreed between ourselves that we would never let anyone in. And it also caused a lot of sort of friction between us as well, because, you know, when you're not in a good financially situation, you know, you're both stressed out, and then you, on top of it, you've got a place that is just not fit for purpose. And so that was difficult. And I think we were there for over a year.
Wow.
And it was a difficult time in our marriage. It was a difficult time, just financially. It was quite tough. But then, to be honest, that was also when we said, okay, things had to change. And then that's when we bought our first property just to live in as a residential. But yeah, that time was quite tough financially.
Wow. Wow. Sorry to hear that. Now you're all out of that, stronger than ever. So brilliant. Last main question before we do a quick fire round question. In the property investment world, business world, social media, and society, I see first world problem to do with overwhelm. There's so many things happening in social media, people buying properties left, right, and center, driving amazing cars, living lavish life, right? And they're literally showing everything online. So how do you deal with overwhelmed, because you manage so many things? How can people get rid of overwhelm and stay focused in their dream?
Yeah, okay. So I eliminate things that are not too important. So I prioritize. Um it's not every call that I receive that I pick up, because I do not have the energy, nor do I have the capacity to be talking to everyone that calls me. So it may be that I would have to call them back a couple of days or whenever I feel that it's fit. I also delegate as well. So I've got a team that I have, not just in property, but I also have like virtual assistants, you know, like my PA. I've got, you know, business managers as well that help me out. So I actually don't do it on my own. So I delegate tasks that need to be done frequently, that I don't maybe have the capacity to, or that actually by delegating can free me up to sort of work on other things. And also, I prioritize me. I love me. I love spending time by myself, whether that be just going out for long walks. I love going out for walks, whether that's taking myself out for dinner or for lunch. I do that all the time. I love that. So I'm always thinking, if I'm feeling a bit, I'm like, okay, have you prioritized yourself, Grace? Have you done something for you? Have you got your nails done? Have you, like I said, go out for a walk, taking yourself to the cinema? I take myself to the cinema by myself. I watch a good film. I have a good
Wow.
laugh. Like, I love my own company as well. So I do that, and that energizes me. So yeah, I take care of me, because if I don't take care of me, then obviously I won't be here or be productive to anybody or anything. So yeah.
Absolutely. I like that. I like that. You know, you have to be selfish for
Yes.
you in order to be able to serve someone else. So
Yeah,
that's a very
exactly.
good answer there. So quick fire round questions, very brief, and summarize them.
Okay.
What was the worst advice you remember receiving?
Um, Play it safe.
Best advice you remember receiving?
Always take risks.
Brilliant. Wow, I like that one. I've never had that answer before. That's good. So, who is your favorite sports star?
I don't know any. Usain Bolt.
Okay. Looking back at your 18-year self, what would you have done differently?
Invested.
Okay. What was your inspiration growing up?
God.
Your biggest regret?
I don't have any.
Okay. Who is or was your role model?
My husband.
Wow, great. Is there something you believe that lots of people disagree with you?
No.
What is the best book you've ever read or listened to?
What's the one that I listened to? Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Does money change you?
I hope it doesn't.
Does money make you happy?
Yes.
Is there something you used to strongly believe and you've recently changed your mind on?
Yes. That making quick decisions is always in my best interest.
Wow, I like that. Is there something in the world you fundamentally think is wrong and you'd like to change?
Poverty.
Wow. I like that answer. Brilliant. This podcast is called Property Investment Blueprint Podcast. What does property investment blueprint means to you?
Property investment blueprint. um, I'm going to say silly answer, but having a diverse portfolio, or, I don't know.
Well, that's good. It's good. Well, skill is part of it. Like it is. If you have a diverse portfolio, then obviously you are kind of taking a risk away, isn't it? So that's a good answer. Thanks for answering that. Final one. If there was only one person you'd love me to interview in this podcast, who would that person be and why?
Stephanie Baker.
Okay.
And she's full of energy. She's another woman doing great things in property. And what I love about her is that she is just go, go, go. You can't stop her. Whatever comes her way, she's just.
Wow. Brilliant. Okay, that's fine. What an amazing way to kind of end the podcast. It was a great moment. So thank you for being here. Where should we follow you and where you're hanging out for people who may want to contact you to help them with their property investment journey? What an amazing way to end the podcast. That was a great special moment for me to ask you all these amazing questions. Where should we follow you and where you're hanging out in social media if there are people listening wanting to start and scale their property investment journey or really just need a guidance from your end?
Brilliant. Okay, yeah. So I'm on Instagram, so you can find me on Gisland_homes. So that's GISLAND_homes. And on my link tree, you'll find my courses. I have programs there. I offer consultations and the like. So you can book me there and my PA would respond.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. It's been absolutely amazing sharing your life passion with us. I love what you're doing. Keep doing it. Don't give up. I love the energy. I love the tenacity. And it's been absolute great pleasure having you on the Property Investment Blueprint. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rahim. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Brilliant.